Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Bellino. Welcome to the 2023 Quick Lane Bowl introductory press conference. This selection Sunday, we learned that the Bowling Green Falcons and the Minnesota Golden Gophers will be going head-to-head, an exciting matchup for this year's Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field. Now, the game will take place on Tuesday, December 26th, kickoff scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with tickets starting at $29 and are available at fordfield.com. Today, we have the opportunity to hear from both of our teams competing head coaches, but first I'd like to introduce Quick Lane Service Network Manager JB Garza to give a message on behalf of the bowl games title sponsor Quick Lane. JB?
Hey, perfect. Thank you. First and foremost, Coach Leffler, Coach Fleck, congratulations to you, to your teams, to your staff on excellent seasons. I know this is not easy thing to do to get to a bowl game, so congratulations to all of you. Looking forward to having you guys. I know the team has some great events scheduled for your teams. Hopefully we get to have a lot of fun and then a great game on December 26th. So looking forward to seeing y'all. And again, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, JB. Time now to take a look at what the 9th annual Quick Lane Bowl has in store for us. For our media members in attendance, please hold all the questions until the end, and then we'll open up the floor for a roundtable discussion with the coaches. But let's dive into the matchup itself. Representing the Big Ten Conference after finishing the regular season 5-7, the Minnesota Golden Gophers playing in their 24th bowl game in school history when they arrive in Detroit later on this month. Minnesota has won 6 consecutive bowl games since their battle against Central Michigan in the 2015 Quick Lane Bowl. Team is currently 4-0 in bowl games under head coach PJ Fleck and are hoping to add another trophy to their collection. And after taking home the trophy in the 2015 contest as well as 2018, after defeating Georgia Tech, the Gophers look for their third ever Quick Lane Bowl title victory when they take on Bowling Green on December 26th. For the Bowling Green Falcons of the Mid-American Conference, they're back in the Quick Lane Bowl for the second consecutive year after finishing their regular season 7-5. The Falcons are the first school to play in consecutive Quick Lane Bowls and join Minnesota as the only other school with multiple appearances in this bowl game. Bowling Green has had record-breaking improvements over the last couple of years under fifth-year head coach Scott Leffler. This will mark Bowling Green's 15th bowl appearance overall, and looking to come out on top when they take the field against the Golden Gophers. We've heard a little bit about each team. Now time to hear from the coaches. First off, joining us for the Big Ten Conference, we have head coach PJ Fleck from Minnesota to give our opening remarks.
Yeah, Anthony, really appreciate it. First of all, congratulations to Bowling Green, Coach Leffler. We're very familiar with him. Weren't able to get the job done a few years ago against him at our home stadium, so have a ton of respect for him and what he's been able to do with his program. And all the improvements Bowling Green has made. I want to thank our athletic director, Mark Coyle, and President Ettinger for all their support throughout the years. We're excited to be back in the Quick Lane Bowl. We absolutely loved our time back there in 2018. I want to thank the Detroit Lions, Quick Lane, City of Detroit. We're excited for our return as well. We love the hospitality. And, it's interesting as a 5-10 or 5-7 team, you might not have necessarily had the wins to qualify, but this is the type of team we have when you're talking about APR numbers and the 992 that we have. They're still student athletes, and opportunities like this present themselves when you do all the right things off the field in the classroom. And it's a great reward for our players, and that's what bowl season is all about. So we're really excited to be back to Detroit. Can't wait to be there. I know our team's really excited as well. And congratulations to the Bowling Green State Falcons.
Thank you very much, Coach Fleck. Now from the Mid-American Conference, Bowling Green's head coach, Scott Leffler, also joining us.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys this afternoon, but very similar to what PJ said, we've got unbelievable respect for Minnesota, being a Big Ten guy and understanding what Minnesota is all about academically, and they play great football, and PJ's done an unbelievable job at the University of Minnesota. It's a great place. And we're just happy to have the opportunity to play a Big Ten team. He's done a great job there, and we're looking forward to that matchup. I'd like to thank also our president, President Rogers, and Derek Vandermeer for all their support during the season. I can't tell you how excited I am that we're 45 minutes up the road. We're going to have a great crowd. I know Minnesota is going to bring a lot of people. It's going to be a great environment, and 2 football teams and 2 good group of kids are going to get to go play a heck of a football game. And I'm ecstatic personally. I'm from Ohio. I spent the majority of my young adult life in Ann Arbor. I got to coach for the Detroit Lions. I got so many ties and so many high school coaches in that area. And I'm just ecstatic that they're going to be able to watch a really good Big Ten team and an improving Mid-American Conference team that's going to have an opportunity to take another step next year. And just excited to watch two really good first-class programs play each other on December 26th, and also be a part of an unbelievable city, the city of Detroit. Like to thank the Detroit Lions. I love the Fords. They're the best. They're great people to work for, and really look forward to this matchup.
For both of you coaches, you touched on, coming back to Detroit, and obviously both of you have experience here. But what does being bowl eligible mean for your individual programs and this time now between the end of the season and preparing for a bowl game that will give you guys some extra time that other teams don't have running through this month?
Well, I think it's important. It's really critical for us. And I don't mean to speak for Scott and his program, but you're getting to a bowl, which gives you extra practices, not only for this year, but propelling yourself into next year. This is its own season. I think that's why it's called bowl season. So we actually name it, 2023.5. Whatever happened in 23 is done and over with. You either got rewarded for your performance or you did not. 24 is still, a few months away or a few weeks away. This is that time. That's why it's its own season. And we've really taken on that 2023.5. What we've learned from 23, what's exciting about 24, but it gives you opportunity for some more practices, your players to be around, the program being around you, being around your families, especially as it leads up to the holiday season. And then for them to be able to bring people to Detroit, really celebrate the holidays in Detroit, all be together amongst this brand new season of bowl season. And it's really exciting. It's all about the players. It always has been. Bowl season's always that way. And I think that's a reward for all of them. So it means a lot. I don't mean to speak for Scott, but I know he feels the same way. I'm sure that it's all about the players. It's a reward for all their hard work, the staff's hard work, and the family's hard work. And that's what we enjoy the most, is getting all of our families out there, getting all the players' families out there, and really celebrating the holidays and college football together.
Yeah, I agree. PJ couldn't have said it better. This is an unbelievable opportunity to say goodbye to your seniors, be around your seniors one more time, and really hope that both groups of seniors really perform really well. Some of them, it's going to be their last opportunity to ever play football again. The blessed ones are going to get to go have the opportunity to play in the NFL. And just like said PJ brought up the opportunity to develop and to parachute into 2024. We've both got a bunch of young football players on our team that we've got to develop, mentor, and it's 15 opportunities. It's like having another spring practice. So being able to be around your guys in the month of December, being able to reward the families, reward the coaches for their hard work. PJ couldn't have said it better. We philosophically believe in college football. I've known PJ a long time, and he's done things absolutely right in his career. And so philosophically, we have the same beliefs, and we just want both Minnesota and Bowling Green to go out and play a great football game. And obviously both programs want to win, but there's a bigger picture to the whole thing other than the win-loss.
For both coaches here, I want to get a little bit of your perspective on the ever-changing world that is college football. All of us, in the media have been following along with the numbers that are in the transfer portal. So how do you go about, handling all of that while trying to schedule practice, while trying to, make your recruiting visits and everything else? It feels like there's a whole lot on the plate now for the head coach of a college football program. The plate's not getting any bigger. So how are both of you going about that?
Do I have to keep going first, Scott, or you want to go first?
You go first, man. Hey, listen, you got it, brother.
Well, first of all, change is inevitable, right? Whether it's the National Football League, whether it's college football, whether it's high school football, whether it's your family, change is inevitable. It just happens. But I will say this, is that, if you look at a schedule book of any head coach right now, it's amazing what we are doing, what our staffs are doing, even what our players are doing, because this profession's turned into the college football coaches. You're not only the coach, but you're also the GM. You're in charge of salary cap now, where the NFL has a complete department just for that. You're the president as well. You're the head of marketing for your program. You're the CFO. It's everything. And most companies have massive branches just for that department. And now it's shoved right on just one guy's plate and or the staff's plate. But that's what we do. We adapt and we go. And one thing I'll tell you is that the NIL has been, and transfer portal, the original thought process of it and why it's invented is 100% the right reasons. It's to allow student athletes to be able to benefit off their name, image, and likeness, and to be able, if they're not playing somewhere, go somewhere else, go for a different experience, and maximize those experiences. When those two things start colliding in recruiting and become the focal point of where we are now, I think this has been a long time coming. And even NCAA President Charlie Baker came out with some more news, which, I can appreciate, new ideas finally coming out of the NCAA. And I look forward to some of those new changes actually being applied, but a lot of them have a lot of different effects on different programs and different conferences as well as we keep moving forward. But the original intent and what's going on right now, all for the portal and NIL and anything our student athletes can benefit from, because I think we're in this position for a lot of decisions that were made a long time ago. But when you see it where it is now, when it combines with recruiting and tampering and all those other things, that's what's really hard to really like it all the time. Now, I think it's beneficial for all the right reasons, like we talked about earlier, but it is an adjustment. It's an adjustment for everybody. And I think we're all starting to see it. And whatever you're going on right now is basically what you've had over the last 2 years. You're starting to feel the effects right now. And if you're ahead of the curve and you have the resources to be ahead of the curve, you're probably ahead of the curve right now. If you didn't have those resources, you're playing catch up right now. If you don't have the resources right now, you're going to be catching up 2-3 years down the road. So it is a very unique environment in college athletics. But I do know this, and I don't mean to speak for Scott and Coach, but we're going to run our program and make value-based decisions based on them being student athletes, academically, athletically, socially, and spiritually, period. That is what we are going to do. How NIL and transfer portal continue to fit into that, it can fit into that. We're showing how that can fit into that. So, you don't have to follow everybody else. You can create your own path in it. You can do it your own way. We have great support from Mark Coyle, our athletic director, and our president, Ettinger. And so it is a unique time, but again, you've got to be able to believe in what you believe in. And here at Minnesota, we're going to continue to make those value-based decisions. And a lot of our student athletes are benefiting off those value-based decisions in every area of their life, including financial.
Yeah, I agree with PJ in terms of we're in hands down the most unique time ever. It's nothing that I signed up for or PJ signed up for. But the area that I totally agree with PJ is there's a lot of positive with the transfer portal. There's a ton of positive with name, image, and likeness. Now we got to get it under control. We've got to have some parameters that athletes can benefit from both. And just like he said, it's a time right now that it's a little bit of the wild, wild west. But we've got smart people. There's a lot of smart people in this world that can figure this out. We can contain it. We can control it. We can make it right. And I think student athletes are going to benefit from it. But we need to obviously get some type of regulation or rules around this thing. I mean, it's like anything else. 90% of everybody, anything is good. A lot of times we hear only about the 10% that is bad. And I really honestly believe this thing and this new generation of college football is really going to benefit the student athlete. But at the end of the day, any good business is hitting the same things that PJ is talking about. You got to bring people in that have great integrity. You got to hire great coaches. You got to bring people in that love the university and want to do right, that still want to get an education. And I just think this addition of being able to pay a player for his name, image, and likeness is going to be an extreme positive. We just got to get our arms wrapped around it.
We'll now open up the floor for any media questions. Just put your name and affiliation into the chat feature, and then we'll call on you, and you just have to unmute and get your question in. We'll try to get them in the order that they are received. If you're looking for the chat function, it's down at the bottom bar under the ellipse there that says more. Just click on the chat, and the sidebar will pop up. But I definitely think it's like both of you said, a very interesting time in college athletics and the way that you both in programs across the country have to handle it. Andy is here with the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Hello, Andy. Go ahead and unmute yourself and fire away.
PJ, this question's for you. Given the players that you guys have been able to retain as far as starters go, and kind of them thanking Dickeytown athletes and kind of keeping and retaining those players, what do you feel like was instrumental in doing so in this era of so many players entering the portal?
The number one word, Andy, is transparency. I mean, we talk to our players all the time. It's proactive education. It's not reactive education. Sorry, hold on one second. Can you still hear me? All right. My picture's gone, just so you know, Anthony, but I just had a recruit call me. Sorry. I don't know how to get myself back over there. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Andy. I would say transparency. I think that's a big key of it. Our Dickeytown athletes have done a great job of taking care of a lot of our student athletes, and our administration's done a great job. Our fundraisers done a great job. Our donors have done a great job. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to have full transparency, where they fit in the program, where they are, what you're looking for, who you're bringing in, how many are you bringing in. Very transparent. And some guys are going to be able to accept that challenge. Some aren't. Some want you to, some don't want you to. But at the end of the day, it's a two-way street. It's a lot of communication. It's a lot of transparency. It's a lot of education. And at the end of the day, Dickeytown has done a really good job of providing our student athletes with a lot of support, and should be congratulated on that. And I love where we're at. We can always be better. I mean, we're way bigger than we were last year, making huge strides in that department, and we'll continue to do that. And, our goal is to make it as big as we possibly can and as beneficial as we possibly can.
Daniel with gophersguru.com.
Hey, PJ, how do you approach and structure bowl practices to maximize the time you're getting with young players?
It's a great question, Daniel. It's like a statistic question coming from you. So I'm sure you'll analyze this somehow in numbers. But here's how we've always worked it. And because our coaches right now are on the road recruiting. So week one is always about getting our older guys and guys that have been playing a lot of football throughout the year really healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, really catch up on their bodies and their mind, school. I mean, everything they can. That's when we give a lot of the young guys a lot of reps. So there's 3 practices that first week, and we dive into the young players. And a lot of those young players are going to have to help us in the bowl game, just because the guys have left, guys have moved on, things like that. So they're going to get great opportunity. The second week, we got to integrate both all back together. And that's the week we're in right now. Coaches are coming back and forth for practice and then rolling back out recruiting. We got official visit weekends coming up with high school and portal players. So we're doing that. But the second week, it's a little more Minnesota versus Minnesota, with a little bit of Bowling Green. Our coaches have already started to game plan the minute we know our opponent. We're very familiar with Scott and Bowling Green, obviously, taking care of business at Huntington Bank Stadium the way they did. So we're familiar in that way, which gives us a little head start. Same with them, I'm sure. And then you get into week 3, and that's when we really start diving into really the scout team reps. I'm a big guy that makes sure that everything's done prior to even getting to the bowl game. We do a little bit of adjustment once we hit the bowl game, and do a little bit more, but it's really the nuts and bolts that are done that 3rd week. And then the 4th week, I mean, you're prepping for the game, in the practices. So, but you're constantly going back and forth. I think we go out there the 22nd, but everything prior to that is, signing day's the 20th. So it's a race to signing day. It's a race to get the portal players in here. It's doing everything you can to make sure you have the team, and then you're bringing your portal players the best way you can to the bowl game and doing everything else. There's a lot on everybody's plate. Players are finishing up with finals, but that's the exciting thing about college football. There's nothing stale. There's nothing boring about it, and you're never sitting around. And that's why we all enjoy what we do. There's always action. So that's how we're handling it right now. Getting some guys back from injury, which is great. Getting them healthy. And but also getting a lot of those young guys reps who are going to have their first experience or some of their next experience at the bowl game.
Greg from Defiant Takes Football.
This is for Coach Leffler. Coach, you started 2-4, seemed to turn it around on the road against Buffalo. How much did an opportunistic defense and special teams play in that turnaround?
Absolutely. we're playing really good defense right now. I think from the time we started the rebuild of the program, our philosophy was we're going to recruit as many D linemen as we possibly can, and everything started with defense. I'm an offensive guy, but I understand that if they can't score, you've got a chance. And offensively, you can always manage the clock, play field position football. The old school ideology of a punt is a good play is still around. I mean, it's all about protecting the ball. It's all about getting the ball back. It's all about being able to create explosions and prevent explosions. So I think we've done a really good job with that. The beginning of the season, just like any team that had a 35-person transition because of the transfer portal, I don't think at the beginning of the season we really knew who we were. And as the season progressed, we really learned how to take care of the ball, how to get the ball back. I think right now, I think and I know and I believe that we're playing as good as football as any Mid-American Conference team in our league. But at the beginning, it was rough. And then what really, not to ever make excuses, but the biggest challenge for us was after the Michigan game. PJ got to play Michigan. That was one of Michigan's by far best football teams that I've ever seen or been associated with. And we took a physical beating. We did not even go into a practice mode until Wednesday. We couldn't even get on the field. So the beginning of the season was a combination of really not knowing who we were and a combination of we took a ton of injuries at the beginning of the season, got healthy, figured things out, and started playing some consistent football. The whole objective of this season for us was to learn to become consistent. And it took us till really week 5 to start figuring out how to become consistent. And I think we've really taken a huge jump in our program in terms of consistency. Do we need to get better? You're damn right. But we've made it the step that we wanted to make this year in terms of playing consistent football, good football.
Randy with the Star Tribune.
Yes, PJ, with Ethan Kellick, Mass entering the transfer portal, what is your quarterback situation for the bowl game? Is it Cole Kramer your likely starter? Have you had to move somebody over to fill in a third spot there?
I mean, yes, no, yes. Cole Kramer will start for us. There's really no other option. But I'll say this in a good way. Cole Kramer's played a lot of football, and he's played a lot of football for us at the quarterback position. We stayed pretty healthy there at that position. So, he didn't necessarily go out there a ton this year. He's really evolved from more of a wildcat quarterback to a real quarterback over his time here. And then you have Max. Max will back him up. And then if we get to that position, we have plenty of options. I think all coaches go in with major contingency plans in case something drastic happens. But Cole Kramer, we have 100% belief in. He's been waiting for this opportunity for a long time, and really excited about his leadership and what he's been able to do since he's been here. He's been here for a long time. He's an Eden Prairie, Minnesota kid, and loves the Gophers, and he's got a great opportunity in front of him to go against a really good football team. So, but I'm really happy for him, and this is what the resolve and the resiliency and the stick-to-itness gives you as an opportunity when you do that. Some things outside your control is an opportunity for you to go show what you can do. And I'm really proud of him, and the team loves his leadership.
Michael with the Toledo Blade.
Hi, PJ. Obviously, there's been a lot of time between the last time you guys played BG in 2021 in a lot of games. But is there anything that you remember specifically about that game or that BGSU team from when they came to Minnesota a couple years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically what Scott just said. I mean, they took care of the football. They created explosive plays. They were able to keep our offense off the field. They were able to sustain drives. I mean, I think I have to look back on it, but the time of possession was really close. If not, they won it. We just couldn't move the ball. He started when you're talking about the defensive line, and they got after it. I remember there was a 4th and 1 earlier in the game. They stuffed us in that. And you talk about a team playing incredibly hard, and it's gotten better from the first game all the way to their last game. They probably could easily sit here, be 9-3 when you look at their season, maybe 10-2. They lost in close games. That Toledo game, I mean, I'm sure that was a tough one for Scott for me to bring up, but you talk about that game could have went either way. So we've done a lot of research on him. I've been a huge fan of Scott for a long time and what he's been able to do, rebuilding Bowling Green. And I have a ton of respect for people who can rebuild programs. And I mean this the best way possible. He's always been able to do a lot more with a lot less, whether that's resources or money or depth or whatever it's been. And I think that's a sign of a really good football coach. I think when you have all of that stuff, I'm not saying that that's easy. That creates another world of problems. But I have a ton of respect for what he's been able to do. And I do remember the game very vividly, unfortunately. So that's they got to give him a lot of credit because we were a good football team. Like, that was a really good football team they came in here and beat. And but our kids, just like he talked about, starting 2-4, our kids felt that, and then we springboarded ourselves after that game. It's when you're dealing with 18 to 24-year-old young men, sometimes that needs to be a springboard. And there wasn't a fluke. That was nothing like that. They came in there and whooped us, and they beat us in our own game. And you got to give them a lot of credit for that. And our players remember that. There was a lot of kids here on that team. They do remember that. And, we're just excited to be able to play in a bowl game this year.
Thank you. Mike with the Gopher Radio. Is Mike still there?
He's probably muted.
He could be muted. Where is he at?
There we go. Sorry about that. Couldn't find where I unmuted. Sorry, Coach.
Told you.
You had it as usual.
The voice of Gopher-football, man. Muted.
There you go. Cole Kramer, you mentioned him. Can you take us through what you'd like to see from him here in the next 3 weeks? Now getting all the one reps and all of those things to get ready for this game.
Yeah, I think it's just when you're the starter, it's just a consistency, building the game plan around his strengths and what he does. His leadership has gone through the roof since he's been here. The ability to lead the team, and I remember the first day, we introduced Cole as, going to be the starter and what was going on within the program. And boy, I tell you what, he got a standing ovation. Guys were fired up for him because they know how hard he's worked, and he's earned the opportunity to do it. Even the last week and a half, you just see a tremendous amount of growth just with his confidence being the guy. Not to say he wasn't confident prior to that. You did. It's just different when you actually get the keys to the car. And really excited for his opportunity. I know he is too. He's getting married here very shortly. He's supposed to actually be living in Arizona right now as we speak, with his girlfriend or fiance and getting the wedding plan. So we had to put that on pause for a little while, which I'm sure she's very excited about. Not the wedding, just the planning on his part. And Ryan, you know what I'm talking about when you're planning on a wedding. So, but he's got a little bit of about 2.5 weeks of a job to do for the Gophers and go out with something that will really stick in his mind of having the opportunity to start in his last college football game.
Andy with the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
BJ, I know it's a challenge every year at this time to keep your recruiting class together. What's your strategy when you have a recruit that is receiving interest from somewhere else and you're sitting in their living room?
Well, we got a few of them right now, which I'm sure you're referring to. And, it's just, there's nothing new, Andy. And I was with a guy yesterday. There was nothing new. I'm not, it's the same thing. I actually got done talking to him and, I can talk. So about 45 minutes, I actually took a breath. And then I was like, that sounded like the first time I ever talked to you, didn't it? And this is like the 50th time I said the same thing. You're reiterating because it's exactly what you are, exactly who you are. It's the exact reason why you picked us. And, again, some people come in late. It's a new flashy, shiny object. That happens. And, we've had that happen to benefit us on our end, and just a reverse cycle. It's just like the portal. Everybody wants to say why they don't like the portal. Well, we've benefited off the portal. Scott has benefited. There's always good. There's so much good in so many things. And then there's obviously, getting towards signing day, and you've got some guys that are coming in, and rightfully so. You just hope that they value the things that they say they value. You hope that they rekindle that spirit of why they picked you, and I hope that they stay true to that, because it's very easy in a short amount of time to influence really young people and their families. And now with the NIL, and the portal and tampering and money. I mean, whatever it is, it can change a lot of places really quick. But I feel really good and really solid with the majority of our class. There's always going to be 2 or 3, like every single year you're always worried about. You just worry a little bit more now because of the resources that some people have that maybe you just don't have up to that level.
We'll go over to Danny now with the Detroit Lions, DetroitLions.com, Sirius XM, and Big Ten Network. Danny?
Thank you so much, Anthony. This is for both head coaches. You both talked about how meaningful this game is. So I just want to know if even if it is like a whole nother season, like Coach Fleck mentioned, what is the big mantra, the big calling card that you'll lead your team into this game with, that you'll really, the number one thing that you'll emphasize really?
You can go ahead, Scott.
Good. Thanks, PJ. Hi, Danny. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Just the opportunity, number one, to be able to play in a bowl game. I mean, it is very hard in both conferences, both the Big Ten and the MAC. It's so competitive. Everyone is so similar, particularly in our league. Everyone is very, very similar. And being able to find a way to become bowl eligible and having the opportunity to play, that's one. It's having a little gratitude for your work. And then second, obviously, the opponent. I'm ecstatic that we're able to play a Big Ten team. You want to always play someone that's better than you, especially in a bowl game. And you want to go out and be able to perform against the best of the best. I mean, are you kidding me? We're getting an opportunity to play against Minnesota in Detroit, 2:00, first game of the bowl season after Christmas. It's going to be great. And I know both teams are going to be excited to play. But ours is a lot of gratitude. And then second, the opportunity to play a Big Ten football team. So it's going to be a really great day for both programs.
Yeah, Danny, thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, I would echo his message, and we've talked about we're just grateful to be in it. I mean, he's bowl eligible by his wins. We are not. So we were technically out. And then when we talk about it, just gives a lot of it backs up exactly, what we talk about. Now, academically, that's why we're in this bowl game. Maybe on the field, we didn't have enough wins, but we talk about why these young men are student athletes. It's celebrating their success, not only on the field, but also in the classroom. And we're the example of that this year. We're the only 5-7 team to go in. We were the only Big Ten West team to beat a top 25 team on the road. We've done a lot of really good. Unfortunately, we got hit with some reasons, and like everybody does, and sometimes injuries affect people a little different than others. And ours got us with some really key players for the majority of the year. But we look forward to having a lot of guys back. And like I said, that's why we make it 2023.5, because it truly is a different season. It's a reward for what you did in the regular season. And for us, unfortunately, it wasn't for the on-the-field win-loss, but it was for our academic progress rate, which we take very, very seriously here. I mean, they are students first. And until somebody tells me differently that doesn't matter anymore, I'm always going to promote the student athlete, not professional players, because they're still not. They can act like it. They can say they are, but they're still not, because they're still going to class. They're still earning degrees. And that's our job ultimately as a coach. We're all in this to coach and make a difference. And you got a very short platform to do that and a very short time frame to do that. We're going to do it the best we can. So I echo what Scott said with the gratitude, the reward. It's so fun to be able to be involved in the bowl season, and it really, truly helps you. I'm telling you, it really helps you connect your team, keep them really close together during the holiday season. I mean, sometimes you get to this point, you don't go to a bowl game, and you hit right after finals, and your team's gone. You don't see them for 3-4 weeks, and you're not sure if that's the last time you'll ever see them. Idle hands of the devil's playground. You just never know, what they're going to do. And now you just get a chance to be around them, keep connecting your team, not only for the bowl game with a great opportunity, but also into 24.
Randy with the Star Tribune.
Yeah, PJ, last week, Matt Rule, Nebraska coach, came out and said that the going rate for a good quarterback in the transfer portal is $1 to $2 million. Has that been your experience when looking at players in the portal?
My personal experience? Well, I know that. I would actually tell him that's probably accurate, but my own experience, absolutely not. For our program.
To interrupt, it is at Bowling Green. We're into that market of 1.5 per
I'll tell you this, Randy. We just We just got one committed actually from the portal. And one thing I love about the young man we just got committed is that was the last thing ever even talked about. In fact, that wasn't even talked about until after he committed. So you're always looking for the right fit. And yes, that is a true statement that Matt Rule said. And that is true. That's out there. That's not just that position. That's almost every position. I've heard numbers this week, whether real or not, that just make your jaw drop, that are pretty much most of our entire NIL. And I believe in the majority of our team as best I can. We'll always find a way to be able to earn some type of income, some type of name, image, and likeness the best they possibly can. But those are true statements. Now, that's not necessarily maybe what or how we do it. Like I said, I mean, we were able to, I think, get a really, really good one. I mean, a really special one that's got almost a 4.0 and in kinesiology and wants to be a doctor and really smart and has thrown for a ton of yards and is an unbelievable leader. And, I still think that value, it's all based on what people value. So yes, that is a true statement, but that doesn't mean everybody values that. And so my job is to make value-based decisions. What does our university value? What do I value? What does that family value? What does the kid value? And I'm not saying money can't be a part of it, but if it's number one, right, that's going to be, and that doesn't match. See, sometimes people they get it wrong when they say, well, that's how a school is willing to commit to you. Well, that's not true. I mean, the money value doesn't mean that that's the commitment level to you. The investment in your life, period. And that's a piece of it, but not everything. The academic piece, the social piece, the spiritual piece, the academic piece, your whole life. These are 70-year decisions. This isn't a 7-month decision. And that 7-month decision could be the worst decision you made in your life. And some of it might not even be real when you get there. Might not even be there. I mean, we haven't even talked about the stories yet. Maybe we have, that people just have stopped it altogether, stopped paying them, or when they got there, it wasn't real. So there's a lot of things out there, but yes, I've heard those same things, but those aren't coming out of our camp. He's not talking about us, put it that way.